going live right now. Yes, yes, hello. How are you? Hey, it's Shendel Briscoe, and we are live at 5 right here in St. Charles, Missouri. Yep, that's right. Today's Monday, October the 24th, 2022. Got some birthday shout outs today. Got some issues with my computer also. It's just not playing fairly, but we want it to play fairly. There we go. There we go. All right, like I said, birthday shout outs going out to Kellie, Thrasher, Bryson. That would be my cousin in law. Craig, Bryant, and Mary Dial. So, without further ado, here's a birthday song for the three of you. Hey, Mary. Hey, Craig. Hey, Kellie. Hey, I heard it's your birthday today. So, happy birthday, I must say. Yeah, no, you're 1 year older today, so a happy birthday to you, I say. I said, hey, Kellie. Hey, Craig. Hey, Mary. Hey, I heard it's your birthday today. Wow, that's another trip around the sun that you made. I hope you're enjoying your special day because, well, it's your happy birthday day today. Yes, I said, did you hear? Happy birthday day today. Hey, yo. Just had a muscle spasm that threw me back in the chair. Tried to slide me out, right out of my underwear. No, not exactly. Anyway, how about them Shin fans? Yep, that's right. Hey, you know that Richie Humarito, she shares the Shen Show and the Bible with Briscoe 2022 lots, and I certainly do appreciate you, Richie. Thank you ever so much. Also, Martin Kelly out there, a.k.a. Smiley. And then there's Doug Bell. I didn't throw him up on the invite today, but he's not on the list. But anyway, Doug Bell, he has a tendency to send out the Shen Show too. That'd be a.k.a. Steve Clary. He sure shares the Shen Show all over the place, and I do appreciate that. For sure, for sure, for sure. Then we got Savann Murphy Beason. Then we've got, did I say Martin Kelly, a.k.a. Smiley? Well, he's in there too. And then Diana Gray, Laurie Moore, a.k.a. Laurie Taylor, a.k.a. Thumper. And then Sweet Sunny Day Girl, a.k.a. Rachel. And then there's my Pokey pals, my special Pokey pals. That's right. Those are the gals that poke me down the Facebook page. That's right. We got Amanda S. Little and Julie Regot. So there you have it. Those are the Shen Show shout outs for today. Well, the forecast coming up for you right here, right now, for the St. Charles viewing area. Hey, you know, it's 77 degrees out there today. Boy. It was nice. It was blistery. It was one. The wind was just blowing like crazy. Kind of overcast, partly sunny, but mostly cloudy. And the wind was just blowing and blowing like crazy. Then blew them clouds by pretty quick. So them intervals of sunshine, pretty nice. Anyway, it's about 75 out there right now. And well, it's getting worse. Well, I say worse. It's getting colder. That's doing it. It sure is. That's what it's doing today. I said, looking on the inside, waiting for the outside. That's what I'm a doing today. I said, I'm a sitting here drinking, can't keep from thinking I'm a drinking my blues away. I said, I'm a sitting on a bar stool, acting like a darn fool. That's what I'm a doing today. I sitting here a drinking, can't keep from thinking I'm drinking my blues away. All right, hey, we got some afternoon for the evening and or nighttime. Periods of rain with low temperatures near 60 degrees Fahrenheit, south to southeast winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour, decreasing to 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chances of rain 100%, around a half inch, will be falling tonight. Alrighty then. Alrighty. How about October the 25th? October the 25th, we're going to have rain throughout the day. High temperatures of 63 degrees Fahrenheit with winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chances of rain 100%. 1 to 2 inches of rain expected locally with heavy rainfall quite possible. That's right. Clouds with occasional rain, mainly in the evening, and then low temperatures of 42 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Winds will be northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chances of rain 70%. So it's just going keep on and keep on, keep on raining. Going to have a nice, bright, sunny day on Wednesday. That's good. Going to stop by a chiropractor on Wednesday and have him check out my neck. Blah, blah, blah. I got some muscle tension going on in that neck, and it pop, pop, poppity, pop, crack, crack, crackety, crack, all the day long. So we're going to have them check it out, take a look, see what they can do for me. Hopefully something fine. Anyway, that's Wednesday, October the 26th. A mainly sunny sky day with high temperatures of 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are going to be northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Few clouds overnight with low temperatures of 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be light and variable northeast at about 4 miles per hour. Then for Thursday, October the 27th, a mixture of clouds and sunshine in the morning, followed by a very cloudy skies during the evening. High temperatures of 61 degrees Fahrenheit with winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies with low temperatures of 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds east to northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty then. October the 28th, Friday, that is. Friday, October the 28th, we're going to have considerable cloudiness with high temperatures of 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies during the evening, followed by mostly cloudy skies and a few showers later on at night. Low temperatures near 45 degrees Fahrenheit with winds north to northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chances of rain 30%. And then for our fifth and final day of our 5-day forecast for the central viewing area, mostly cloudy skies, high temperatures on Saturday, October 29th, that is. High temperatures of 62 degrees Fahrenheit, winds are going to be northeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Considerable cloudiness and occasional rain showers later on at night. Low temperatures of 46 degrees Fahrenheit with winds north to northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chances of rain 40%. And that, my friends, is your 5-day forecast for the St. Charles viewing area. Boy, we're just getting beat up right now, ain't we? Beat up with these muscle spasms. They just ain't relenting. But don't know why. Can you tell me why my muscle spasms won't die? They're making me cry. Don't know why, but I'm having them. Oh my! It's all right though. We're working on it. We're working on it. Yes, we are. Hey, you know what? We got Carol Net and Gav loves my story. So, hey, Carol, how I'm glad you liked it. It would be this a story per se right here, right now. The Shen Show live. So, hi, Carol. Glad you liked the story. I know you don't tune in from over there. Over there. Over there. Let's see. What was that song I was singing? Oh, Barstool. Song lyrics, drinking my baby goodbye. Is that right? Well, I'm a sitting on a bar stool acting like a darn fool. That's what I'm a doing today. Sitting here drinking, trying to keep him thinking I'm boozing my baby goodbye. Well, I could make her stay, but doggone her anyway. Can't say that I didn't try. Oh, pour me another one. I think I finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. Well, every time we disagreed, she was always asking me, are you a man or a mouse? Now that she's gone, she's probably thinking I'm at home. Just moping around the house. She probably thinks that she's the one thing that I just couldn't do without. Well, wouldn't it surprise her? I got a sympathizer as long as these bottles hold out. Well, I'm a sitting on the bar still acting like a darn fool. That's what I'm a doing today. And I'm sitting here drinking, trying to keep from thinking I'm boozing my troubles away. Well, now I couldn't make her stay, doggone her anyway. She can't say that I didn't try. Pour me another one, I'm finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. Well, every time I try to sit down and talk to her, it always ended up in fuss. I tried to reason with her right up till the time she got on that Greyhound bus. It'd be better if I could forget her, 'cause she sure forgot about me. And if it takes all night, I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna sit here until I can't see. Well, I'm a sitting on the bar stool acting like a darn fool. That's what I'm a doing today. I'm a sitting here drinking, trying to keep from thinking I'm boozing my troubles away. Well, now I couldn't make her stay so doggone her anyway. You can't say that I didn't try. So pour me another one. I'm finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. Well, I'm a sitting on the bar stool acting like a darn fool. That's what I'm a doing today. I'm a sitting here drinking, trying to keep from thinking I'm boozing my troubles away. Well, now I couldn't make her stay so doggone her anyway. You can't say that I didn't try. So pour me another one. I'm finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. So I suggest to pour me another one. I'm finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. I said to pour me another one. I'm finished with the other one. I'm drinking my baby goodbye. Drinking my baby goodbye. Now let's see what would happen if we headed to a wedding that no, the old ex's wedding showed up there. Let's see what would happen there. Song lyrics: friends in low places. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. The last one to know, the last one to show. I was the last one you thought you'd see there. I saw the surprise and the fear in his eyes when I took his glass of champagne. And I toasted you and said, honey, we may be through, but you'll never hear me complain, 'cause I've got friends in lower places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And I'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the old oasis where I've got friends in low places. Well, I guess I was wrong. I just don't belong. But then I've been there before. Everything's all right. I'll just say goodnight and I'll show myself to the door. Hey, I didn't mean to cause a big scene. Just give me an hour and then, well, I'll be as high as that ivory tower that you've been living near. Oh, I got friends in the lower places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. I'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not big on the social graces. I think I'll slip on down to the old oasis where I got friends in low places. Oh, I got friends in lower places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. and I'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the oasis. Oh, I've got friends in low places. Yeah, I've got friends in lower places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And yeah, I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the oasis where I've got friends in lower places. Yeah, I've got friends in lower places. All right, let's see. There's another one I was thinking of while I was thinking that one. Uh, Song lyrics sitting on the dock of the bay. Well, I was sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then watching them roll away again. Yeah, I'm a sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm just a sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've had nothing to live for. It took look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Oh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do. So I guess I'll remain the same. Yeah, sitting here resting my bones. And this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen to 1,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm a sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Oh yeah, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Oh, Blue Monday, Blue Monday. Go to sleep. Song lyrics, Blue Monday. Let's see. How does it feel when you treat me like you do? And you know I let my hands upon me. Well, let me get let me. Can't do that one. That's not what I was thinking of anyway. Uh, wishing you were drinking too. Drinking with a little bit alcohol for you. Well, we're slipping more whiskey. Slipping more whiskey. And then the fountain is gonna pour. We're just a sipping some whiskey. Sipping more whiskey till we find ourselves lapping on the floor. I hop in bed, I do. Let's see. There should be something else. Let's see. How about a long song? Not a long song, a story song. We like story songs. Remember how we like the story songs? Well, we're gonna still tell a little story song. How's about there? There was a way to beat a bone. Cadillac, sweet Cadillac. Yeah. Well, let's see. We'll see if we can't get a ride. Song lyrics: The Ride. Well, I was thumbing from Montgomery. I had my guitar on my back when a stranger stopped beside me in a antique Cadillac. Well, he was dressed like 1950, half drunk and hollow eyed. He had his, he said, it's a long walk to Nashville. Would you like a ride, son? And I sat down in the front seat. He turned on the radio, and them sad old songs coming out of them speakers were solid country gold. Then I noticed the stranger was Ghost White Bell when he asked me for a light, and I knew there was something strange about this ride. He said, Drifter, can you make folks smile when you play and sing? Have you paid your dues? Can you moan the blues? Can you bend them guitar strings? He said, boy, can you make folks feel what you feel inside? 'Cause if you're big star bound, let me warn you, it's a long, hard ride. And then he cried just south of Nashville. And he said, son, and then he turned that car around. He said, this is where you get off, boy, 'cause I'm going back to Alabama. Well, I stepped out of that Cadillac. I said, Mr. Many Things. And he said, you don't have to call me Mister. The whole world calls me Hank. He said, Drifter, can you make folks cry when you play and sing? Have you paid your dues? Can you moan the blues? Can you bend them guitar strings? He said, boy, can you make folks feel what you feel inside? 'Cause if you're big star bound, let me warn you, it's a long, hard ride. He said, Drifter, can you make folks feel what you feel inside? Can you? Hey, Drifter, can you make folks cry when you play and sing? Have you paid your dues? Can you moan the blues? Can you bend them guitar strings? He said, boy, can you make folks feel what you feel inside? He says, 'cause if you're big star bound, let me warn you, it's a long, hard ride. You know, you got a lot of competition out there. Now that sounds, uh, now the sounds, it ain't like it was in the 50s when I was here. And then you got Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, and you got Clark and Billy and Joel and Saver and David Allen Cole. You even got my son out there to worry about. That's right. He says, hey, he said, Drifter, can you make folks cry when you play and sing? Have you paid your dues? Can you moan the blues? Can you bend them guitar strings? He said, hey, boy, can you make folks feel what you feel inside? Boy, I blew that song. I boogered it all up. You know, you should listen to some of the songs before you do some of the songs. It's been a while since I've listened to the radio at all, much less back that kind of gold. The music is gold to my ears, for sure, for sure. But, you know, what can we say? Not much. All right. Hey, it looks like a daily bread. Now let's try telling a story to the kids. Well, well, what are we going to tell? Um, ba-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-dee, ba-dee-da, ba-dee. Do 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 da da ba boo boo ba da ba ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da bum ba da ba 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 da bum ba da ba 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 bum. Do 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 do. How about the ugly duckling? You know, the ugly duckling is a story about the little pretty ducky that was just as lovely as a duckling could be. It was a lonely summer, whether the country and the golden corn and the green oats and the haystacks piled up in the meadows looked beautiful. The stork walked about and on his legs, long legs, Long red leg chattered in the Egyptian language, which he had learned from his mother. Well, the cornfields and meadows were surrounded by large forests, and in the midst of which were deep pools. It was indeed delightful to walk about in the country. In a sunny spot stood a pleasant old farmhouse close by a deep river, and from the house down to the water side grew great burdock leaves, so high that under the tallest of them a little child could stand upright. The spot was as wild as the center of a thick woods. In the snug retreat sat a duck on her nest, watching for her young brood to hatch. She was beginning to get tired of her task, for the little ones were a long time in coming out of their shells, and she seldom had any visitors. The other ducks liked much better to swim about in the river than to climb the slippery banks and sit under a broadrock leaf and to have a gossip with her. And at length one shell cracked, and then another, and from each came a lively, living little creature that lifted its head and cried, "Beep, beep, quack, quack," said the mother. They said, "Beep, beep." She said, "Quack, quack," said the mother. And then they all quacked as well as they could and looked about them on every side at the large green leaves. Their mother allowed them to look as much as they liked because green is good for the eyes. "How large the world is," said the young ducks, and when they found how much room they now had than while they were in the little eggshells. Well, do you imagine this is the whole world?" asked the mother. "Wait till you have seen mm, the garden. It stretches far beyond that to the parson's field, but I have never ventured to such a distance. And are you all out?" she continued, raising. "No, I declare, the largest egg lies there still. I wonder how long this is to last. I'm quite tired of it." And she settles herself again on the nest. "Well, how long are you going on? Getting on? How are you getting on?" asked an old duck who had paid her a visit. "One egg is not hatched yet," said the duck. "It will not break. But just look at all the others. Are they not the prettiest little ducklings you ever saw? And they are the image of their father, who is so unkind he never comes to see us." "Let me see that egg that will not crack," said the duck. "I have no doubt it is a turkey's egg. I was persuaded to hatch some once, and after all my care and trouble with the young ones, they were afraid of the water. I quacked and clucked, but all of the pump purpose I could not get them to venture in. And let me look at that egg. Yes, that is a turkey's egg. Take my advice. Leave it where it is and teach the other children to swim." "I think I will sit on it a little bit longer," said the mother duck. "And as I have sat on it so long already, a few days more will be nothing." "Well, please yourself," said the old duck, and she went away. At last the large egg broke, and a young one crept forth, crying, "Beep, beep, beep, beep." It was very large and ugly. The ducks stared at it and exclaimed, "It is very large and not at all like the others. I wonder if it really is a turkey. We shall soon find out. However, when we go to the water, it must go in if I have to push it in myself." On the next day, the weather was delightful, and the sun shone brightly on the green uh, burdock leaves. And so the mother duck took her young brood down to the water, and she jumped in with a splash. "Quack, quack, quack," she said. And on one after another, the little ducklings jumped in. The water covered over their heads, but they popped right up again in an instant, and they swam about quite prettily, and their legs pedaling under them as easily as possible. And the ugly duckling was also in the water swimming with them. "Oh," said the mother, "that is not a turkey. How well he uses his legs, and how upright he holds himself. He is my own child, and he is not so very ugly after all, if you look at him properly. Quack, quack, quack. Come with me now. I will take you to you into grand society and introduce you to the farmyard. But you must keep close to me, or you may be trodden upon. And above all, beware of the cat." Well, when they reached the farmyard, there was a great disturbance. Two families were fighting over an eel's head, which, after all, was carried off by the cat. "See, children, that is why, uh, what the way of the world," said the mother duck, wetting her beak. She, for she would have like the eel's head herself. "Come now, use your legs, and let me see how well you can behave. You must bow your heads prettily to the older ducks yonder. She is the highest born of them all, and has Spanish blood. Therefore, she is well off. Don't you see she has a red flag tied to her leg, which is something very grand and a great honor for a duck? It shows that every one is anxious to not lose her. So, as she can be recognized both by man and beast. Come now, don't turn your toes. A well bred duck spreads his feet wide apart, just like his father and mother, in this way. Now bend your neck and say quack." Well, the ducklings did as they were bid, but the other ducks stared and said, "Look, here comes another brood," as if there weren't enough of us already. "And what a queer looking object one of them is. Won't we don't want him here." And then one flew out and they bit him in the neck. "Let him alone," said the mother duck. "He is not doing any harm." "Yes, but he is so ugly, big and ugly," said the spiteful duck. "And there is no place for him here. He must be turned out." Well, the others are very pretty children, and said the old duck with the red, with a rag on her leg. "All but the one. I wish his mother could improve him a little." "That's impossible, your grace," replied the mother. "He is not pretty, but he has a very good disposition, and swims as well or even better than the others. I think he will grow up pretty, and perhaps be smaller. He has remained too long in the egg, and therefore his figure is not properly formed. And then She stroked his neck and smoothed his feathers, saying, "It is a drake, and therefore not of so much consequence. I think he will grow up strong and be able to take care of himself." "The other ducklings are graceful enough," said the old duck. "Now make yourself at home, and if you can find an eel's head, you can bring it to me." And so they made themselves comfortable. But the poor duckling, who had crept out of his shell last of all and looked so ugly, was bitten and pushed and made fun of, not only by the ducks, but by all the poultry. "He is too big," they all said, and the turkey cock, who had been born into the world with spurs, and fenced him, really an emperor, fancied himself an emperor, puffed himself up, and he puffed himself out like a vessel of full sail, and he flew at the duckling and became quite red in the head with passion, so that the poor little thing did not know where to go and was quite miserable because he was so ugly, and laughed at and by all the whole farmyard. So it went on from day to day till he got worse and it got worse. And well, the poor duckling was driven about by every one, and even his brothers and sisters were unkind to him and would say, "Ah, you ugly creature, I wish the cat would get you." And his mother said she wished he had never been born. While the ducks pecked at him, the chickens beat him, and the girl who fed the poultry kicked him with her feet. So at last he ran away, frightened, and the frightening the little birds in the hedge as he flew over the pa- palings. "They are afraid of me because I am ugly," he said. So he closed his eyes and he flew still further until he came out on a large moor inhabited by wild ducks. And here he remained the whole night, feeling sad and tired and sorrowful. In the morning, when the wild ducks rose in the air, they stared at their new comrade. "What sort of duck are you?" they all said, coming around him. He bowed to them and was so as polite as he could be, but he did not reply to their question. "You are exceedingly ugly," said the wild ducks, "but that will not matter if you do not want to marry one of our family." Well, poor thing, he had no thoughts of marriage. All he wanted was permission to lie among the rushes and drink some of the water on the moor. After he had been on the moor 2 days, there came two wild geese, or rather goslings, for they had not been out of the egg very long, and they were very saucy. "Listen, friend," said one of them to the duckling, "you are so ugly that we like you very well. Will you go with us and become a bird of passage? Not far from here is another moor, in which there are some pretty wild geese, all unmarried, and it is a chance for you to get a wife. You may be lucky, ugly as you are." Pop, pop sounded in the air, and the two wild geese flew dead among the rushes, and the water was tinged with blood. "Pop, pop," echoed far and wide in the distance, and the whole flock of wild geese rose up from the rushes. The sound continued from every direction, for the sportsmen sound surrounded the moor, and some were even seated on branches of trees overlooking the rushes, while the blue smoke from the guns rose like clouds over the dark trees, and as it floated away across the water, a number of sporting dogs, mm, bounded in among the rushes, which bent beneath them wherever they went. How they terrified the poor ducklings! He turned away his head to hide it under his wing, and at the same moment a large, terrible dog passed quite near him. His jaws were open, his tongue hung from his mouth, and his eyes glared fearfully. He thrust his nose close to the duckling, show, showing his sharp teeth, and then splash, splash, he went into the water without touching him. Oh, sighed the duckling, oh, how thankful I am for being so ugly. Even a dog will not bite me. And so he lay quite still, while the shot rattling through the rushes, and the guns after gun was fired over him. It was late in the day before all became quiet again, but even then the poor young thing did not dare to move. He was waited quietly for several hours, and then, after looking carefully around him, hastened away for the moor as fast as he could. He ran over fields and meadows till a storm arose, and he could hardly struggle against it. Towards evening, he reached a pool, a poor little cottage that seemed ready to fall, and only remained standing because it could not decide on which side to fall first. And the storm continued so violently that the duckling could go no further. He sat down by the cottage, and then he noticed that the door was not quite closed, in consequence of one of the hinges having given way. There was therefore a narrow opening near the bottom, large enough for him to slip through, which he did very quietly, and he got a shelter for the night. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. A woman, a tomcat, and a hen lived in the cottage. The tomcat, whom the mistress called my little son, was a great favorite, and he could raise his back and purr, and could even throw out sparks from his fur if it were stroked the wrong way. The hen had very short legs. So she was called Chicky Short Legs. She said, or she laid good eggs, and her mistress loved her as if she had been her own child. And in the morning, the strange visitor was discovered, and the tomcat began to purr, and the hen to cluck. What is that noise about? Said the old woman, looking around the room. But her sight was not very good. Therefore, when she saw the duckling, she thought it must be a fat duck. The hey, that had strayed from home. Oh, what a prize! She exclaimed. I hope it is not a drake, for then I shall have some duck's eggs. I must wait and see. So the duckling was allowed to remain on the trial basis for 3 weeks. But there were no eggs. Now the tomcat was the master of the house, and the hen was mistress, and that they always said we and the world, for they believed themselves to be half of the world, and the better half too. Well, the duckling thought that the others might hold a different opinion on the subject, but the hen would not listen to such doubts. Can you lay eggs? She asked. No. Then have the goodness to hold your tongue. Can you raise your back or purr or throw out sparks? Said the tomcat. No, then you have no right to express an opinion when sensible people are speaking. So the duckling sat in the corner, feeling low, very low spirited, till the sunshine and the fresh air came into the room through the open door. And then he began to feel such a great longing for a swim on the water that he could not help telling the hen, "What an absurd idea," said the hen. "You have nothing else to do, therefore you have foolish fantasies. If you could purr or lay eggs, they would pass away. But it is so delightful to swim about on the water," said the duckling, "and so refreshing to feel it close over your head while you dive down to the bottom." "Delightful indeed," said the hen. "Why, you must be crazy. Ask the cat. He is the cleverest animal I know. Ask him how he would like to swim about in the water or dive under it, for I will not speak of my own opinion. Ask our mistress, the old woman. There is no one in the world more clever than she is. Do you think she would like to swim, or to let the water close over her head?" "You don't understand me," said the duckling. "We don't understand you. Who can you understand? Who can understand you, I wonder? Do you consider yourself more clever than the cat or the old woman? I will say nothing of myself. Don't imagine such nonsense, child, and you think your good fortune that you have been received here. Now, warm, are you not in a warm room and in a society from which you may learn something? But you are a chatterer, and your company is not very agreeable. Believe me, I speak only for your own good. I am telling you unpleasant truths, but that is a proof of my friendship. I advise you, therefore, to lay eggs and learn to purr as quickly as possible." "I believe I must go out into the world again," said the duckling. "Yes, do," said the hen. So the duckling left the cottage and soon found water on which he could swim and dive, but was avoided by all the other animals because of his ugly appearance. Autumn came, and the leaves in the forest turned to orange and gold. And then, as winter approached, the winds caught them as they fell and whirled them in the cool air. The clouds, heavy with hail and snowflakes, hung low in the sky, and the raven stood on the ferns, crying, "Crawl, crawl." Well, it made one shiver and cooled and shivered with cold to look at him. Now, all this was very sad for the poor little duckling. On one evening, just as the sun sat amid radiant clouds, there came a large flock of beautiful birds out of the bushes. The duckling had never seen anything like them before. They were swans. Yes, and they carved their graceful necks, while their soft plumage shone with dazzling whiteness. They uttered a singular cry as they spread their glorious wings, and they flew away from those cold regions to warmer countries across the sea. As they mounted higher and higher in the air, the ugly little duckling felt quite a strange sensation as he watched them. He whirled himself in the water like a wheel, stretching out his neck towards them, and uttered a cry so strange that it frightened himself. Could he ever forget those beautiful, happy birds? And when at last they were out of sight, he dived under the water and rose again, almost beside himself with excitement. He knew not the names of these birds nor where had flown, but he felt towards them as he had never felt for any other bird in the world. He was not envious of those beautiful creatures, but wished to be as lovely as they. The water, as lovely as they. Poor ugly creature. How gladly he would have lived, even when with the ducks, had they only given him encouragement. The winter grew colder and colder. He was obliged to swim about on the water to keep it from freezing. But every night, the space on which he swam became smaller and smaller. At length, it froze so hard that the ice in the water cracked as he moved, and the duckling had to paddle with his legs as well as he could to keep the space from closing up. He became exhausted at last and lay still and helpless, frozen fast in the ice. Early in the morning, a peasant who was passing by saw what had happened. He broke the ice in pieces with his wooden shoe, and he carried the duckling home to his wife. The warmth revived the poor little creature, but when the children wanted to play with him, the duckling thought they would do him some harm, and so he started up in terror, fluttered into the milk pan, and splashed the milk about the room. Then the woman clapped her hands, which frightened him still more. He flew first into the butter cask, then into the metal tub, and out again. What a condition he was in! The warm woman screamed and struck at him with the tongs. The children laughed and screamed and tumbled over each other in their efforts to catch him, but luckily he escaped. The door stood open, and the poor creature could just manage to slip out among the bushes and lie down quiet, exhausted in the newly fallen snow. It would be very sad where I related all where I to relate all the misery and privations which the poor little duckling endured during that hard winter. But when it had passed, he found himself lying one morning in a moor amongst the rushes. He felt the warm sun shining and heard the lake singing and saw that all around were beautiful springs. And then the young bird, felt that his wings were strong as he flapped them against his sides and rose high into the air. They bore him outward until he found himself in a large garden. Before he well knew how it had happened, the apple trees were in full blossom, and the fragrant elders bent their long green branches down to the stream, which would round a smooth lawn. Everything looked beautiful in the freshness of early spring. From a thicket closest by came three beautiful white swans, rustled their feathers, and swimming lightly over the smooth water. The duckling remembered the lovely birds, and he felt more strangely unhappy uh, than ever. I will fly to those royal birds, he exclaimed, and they will kill me because I am so ugly and dare to approach them. But it does not matter. Better be killed by them than pecked by the ducks, beaten by the hens, pushed about by the maiden who feeds the poultry, or starved with hunger in the winter. So then he flew to the water, and he swam towards the beautiful swans. And the moment they spied the stranger, they rushed to meet him with outstretched wings. Kill me, said the poor bird, and he bent his head down to the surface of the water, and he awaited death. But what did he see in the clear stream below? His own image, no longer a dark gray bird, ugly and disagreeable to look at, but a graceful and most beautiful swan. To be born in a duck's nest in a farmland is of no consequence to a bird if it hatches from a swan's egg. He now felt glad at having suffered sorrow and trouble because it enabled him to enjoy so much better all the pleasures and happinesses around him. For the great swan swam around the newcomer and stroked his neck with their beaks as a welcome. Into the garden presently came some little children and threw bread and cake into the water. See, cried the youngest, there is a new one. And the rest were delighted, and they ran to their father and mother, dancing and clapping their hands and shouting joyously, there is another swan, come, a new one has arrived. Then they threw more bread and cakes into the water, and they said, the new one is the most beautiful of all. He is so young and pretty. And the old swans bowed their heads before him, and then he felt quite ashamed and hid his head under his wing, for he did not know what to do. He was so happy and yet not at all proud. He had been persecuted and despised for his ugliness, and now he heard them say he was the most beautiful of all the birds. Even the elder tree bent down its brow and to the water before him, and the sun shone warm and bright. And then he rustled his feathers, curved his slender neck, and cried joyfully from the depths of his heart, I never dreamed of such happiness as this while I was an ugly duckling. And that's the end. Well, that was a long one for today, but I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed telling it to you. You probably did go to sleep on that one. I almost did. Okay, hey, it looks like the daily bread portion of the program. Daily bread portion of the program is going to be brought to you today by the Bible with Briscoe 2022. The Bible with Briscoe 2022 is a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Today's reading in the Bible with Briscoe 2022 will be Jeremiah 3 through 5 and 1 Timothy 4. So don't forget to tune in to the Bible with Briscoe 2022 for your daily reading of the Bible. Alrighty then, let's see here. Fleeing from turkeys. Fleeing from turkeys. Fleeing from turkeys. Run, run, run. Get out of the sun. Run from the turkeys. Run, run, run. Fleeing from turkeys is today's daily bread devotion. And today's scriptures and insights, for example, to explain this, it's going to be 1 Samuel 17:32 and 40 through 50. 1 Samuel 32 and 1 Samuel 40 through 50. David said to Saul, let no one lose heart on account of the Philistines, and your servant will go and fight him. Then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in his pouch and of the shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand, approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, I am a dog that you came to with at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said, and I'll give you our flesh to the birds and the wild animals. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I have come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Now this day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and he struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank deep into the forehead and he fell face down on the ground. So David, triumphant over the Philistine, with a sling and a stone, without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. And that was 1 Samuel 32 and 1 Samuel 17:40 through 50, which was fleeing from turkeys. Why would we want to be fleeing from turkeys? Turkeys are nothing more than birds, nothing more to scare us than the ugly duckling in his ugliness. All righty, my friends. Hey, that looks like the Shen Show for today. I, Shenandoah Briscoe, I've got one more song for you, and it goes, oh, well, goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I said goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. So goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. This here has been Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show. And as always, you know, God loves you and so do I. So come back and see us tomorrow because, well, hey, we'll be here, God willing, and we hope that you will too. Bye bye.